Hey guys, I'm switching it up a little bit tonight. I'm gonna be doing a little bit more of more on the blue teaming side of things. I guess this could kind of be considered more like purple teaming, though. Um, well, yeah, I think that's kind of the perspective that this is being looked at here. So I'm going to be going through the Intro to Threat Emulation room on TryHackMe. It's part of the SOC Level 2 path. So let's go ahead and jump into the introduction. Okay. Red and blue teams are essential in identifying, detecting, and addressing vulnerabilities. In a continually evolving threat landscape, Security Operations Center, SOC, need to reduce the impact of the cybersecurity skills gap, gain confidence in their ability to prevent a data breach, and get real-world training through experience. This can be facilitated through effective collaboration between the teams while addressing security breaches and during training and emulation practices. Understanding the difference between cybersecurity simulation and emulation can help you build a more robust threat detection and response program that strengthens security. Learning objectives. Understand what threat emulation is, identify various frameworks used in threat emulation, and understand how to plan, execute, and report emulation exercises. Prerequisites. Before embarking on this room, it is highly recommended to review the rooms of the following modules: cyber defense frameworks and cyber threat intelligence. I think I've already done those. It's not really super needed, though, in this case. Okay, so we'll complete this. We'll move on to task 2. What is threat emulation? Okay, purpose of threat emulation. Threat emulation is meant to assist security teams and organizations in general in better understanding their security posture and their defense mechanisms and performing due diligence in their compliance. This ensures they are provided with an adversary's perspective of an attack without the hassle of dealing with an actual threat with malicious intent. Additionally, the organization will be well prepared if a real-time and sophisticated attack is initiated against them. With this know-how, the following common assumptions about an attack would be avoided. We applied all patches. Our applications have multi-factor authentication applied. We have the network segmented, implemented a DMZ, and traffic flows through a proxy. Nothing will go through our firewalls, antivirus, and IDS solutions. Cybersecurity assessment issues. Network owners and IT executives often wish to understand their cybersecurity effectiveness. They will usually line up the following common questions to be answered. Are our people trained and alert? Are our internal processes effective? Has the technology in use properly configured and delivered value to the business? I think that should be was the technology in use properly configured and delivered value to the bit. And yeah, that statement there, that question makes sense now, I think. Let's see. These questions are addressed through cybersecurity assessments, mainly red team engagements, vulnerability assessments, and penetration tests. With that, let's understand how these practices contribute to security assessments. Vulnerability assessments are conducted to identify vulnerabilities in assets under a defined scope. The focus here is comprehensive and based on the rules of engagement defined, as assessments do not include exploitation. Penetration testing involves exploiting vulnerabilities within an organization under strict control of the scope and rules of engagement. Pen tests provide organizations with information about their security posture, patching vulnerabilities, and where to invest in security training or practices. Red teaming provides a means of looking at cybersecurity issues from an adversary's perspective. This generates attacks on the organization as though the actual adversary is attacking. This is done in the hope of making the defensive measures better and improving their detections. The challenge of these assessments is that they do not represent real-world threats. They commonly identify initial access vectors that attackers may use and do not facilitate the entire attack cycle. Another challenge from these assessments is the lack of incentivization of red and blue teams during engagements. No party wishes to share their intel and TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, even when the benefits overlap for both teams. Emulation is here to address these challenges and provide a holistic security evaluation. Emulation versus simulation. There is no standard definition of this discipline within the industry, as people use different terminologies to mean roughly the same thing. The familiar words used are threat emulation, adversary emulation, attack simulation, and purple teaming. However, we shall use threat and adversary emulation interchangeably for this room and differentiate them from simulation. Therefore, what is threat emulation? Threat emulation is an intelligence-driven impersonation of real-world attack scenarios and TTPs in a controlled environment to test, assess, and improve an organization's security defenses and response capabilities. This means that you seek to behave as the adversary would. Threat emulation aims to identify and mitigate security gaps before attackers exploit them. Emulation can be conducted as a blind operation, mainly as a red team engagement and unannounced to the rest of the defensive security team, or as a non-blind operation involving all security teams and ensuring knowledge sharing. In contrast, threat simulation commonly represents adversary functions or behavior through predefined and automated attack patterns that pretend to represent an adversary. This implies that the actions taken during the exercise will combine TTPs from one or more groups, but not an exact imitation of a particular adversary. Key concepts. Threat emulation would be seen to have several key characteristics which line up well with the Pyramid of Pain. For more information on the pyramid, check out the linked room. The concepts include the following. Real-world threats. The MITRE ATT&CK framework and cyber threat intelligence are common information sources to ensure threat TTPs are based on actual breaches, APTs, advanced persistent threats, and campaigns. Behavior focus. The execution of TTPs during an emulation exercise aims to tune defenses based on behaviors and not signatures, thus adapting to the elements of the pyramid. Transparency. Disclosure of activities between the red and blue teams during execution ensures that the security posture is improved holistically. Collaborative. Due to the common goal of improving organizational security, threat emulation allows teams to collaborate in their efforts. Repeatable. Some emulation tasks would be done multiple times in the course on an exercise or numerous exercises. These tasks can be automated, creating a baseline of continuous practical security assessments and deployment. Emulation can be applied to numerous instances, each with its own goals. Assessments and improvement. The goal is to test personnel, assess security processes, and evaluate the technology adopted. People, processes, and technology. Capability development. Emulation enables the creation, modification, and application of tools and analytics derived from TTPs. Professional development. What better way to teach and promote knowledge sharing about adversary behaviors and frameworks? This breaks down the barriers between red and blue teams and fosters collaboration missions. Threat emulation exercises provide vital insights to organizations to assist, threat emulation exercises provide vital insights to organizations to assess, manage, and improve their abilities to protect their systems effectively against adversaries. At this point, one may ask how you conduct threat emulation and what methodologies can be followed for a successful exercise. We shall dive into that in the next task. Okay, answer the questions below. What can be defined as an intelligence-driven impersonation of real-world attacks? Threat emulation? Yes, okay. What is the exercise of representing adversary functions through predefined and automated attack patterns? I believe that would be threat simulation. Yes, okay. Task 3, emulation methodologies. Oops, scroll up here a little bit. Threat emulation methodologies are strategies, plans, and procedures used to simulate and test network defenses and systems against adversaries. There are various methodologies, each with its unique approach and level of technicality, but all share the goal of discovering weaknesses in security. It is essential to know that no adversary is alike. However, they would follow a methodology and have their workflows. The methodologies described in this task seek to provide a knowledge base for organizations when dealing with threats and to plan their emulation exercises. Additionally, these methodologies can be combined when formulating your emulation plan. As we shall see, some are already integrated. Let us take a look at some of the methodologies. Okay, so we have the MITRE ATT&CK framework. The MITRE ATT&CK framework is an industry-known knowledge base that provides information about known adversarial TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures observed in actual attacks and breaches. Threat emulation teams can extract many benefits from integrating attack with their engagements, as it would make it efficient when writing reports and mitigations related to the behaviors experimented with. The MITRE ATT&CK matrix visually represents attackers' techniques to accomplish a specific objective. It showcases 14 tactics from reconnaissance to impact, and within each tactic, several adversary techniques are listed and describe the activity carried out. An extension of the attack matrix is the Navigator, a web-based tool for exploring attack matrices by creating color-coded heat map layers of techniques and sub-techniques used by a particular adversary. So I'll enlarge the image. So number 1, these are tactics. Number 2, these are techniques. Wait, aren't all of these techniques? Oh, okay. So reconnaissance is the tactic, and then these are all of the techniques under that. Okay. And then we also have sub-techniques, which we can see over here under persistence. Oh, okay. So all of these at the top are the tactics. And then all of these below are techniques and sub-techniques. So we can see there are 10 techniques for the reconnaissance tactic, 7 for resource development, 9 for initial access, 13 for execution, 19 for persistence, 13 for privilege escalation, 42 for defense evasion, 17 for credential access, 30 for discovery, 9 for lateral movement, 17 for collection, 16 for command and control, 9 for exfiltration, and 13 for impact. Okay. And we can see that these right here are sub-techniques of boot or logon initialization scripts. Okay. Get out of that. Okay, so now we are moving on to atomic testing with Atomic Red Team. Sorry, there's a really annoying gnat. Let's see. Okay, so the Atomic Red Team is a library of emulation tests developed and curated by Red Canary that can be executed to test security defenses within an organization. The testing framework provides a mechanism for learning what malicious activities look like and provide telemetry from every test to facilitate defense improvements. The Atomic's individual tests are mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, providing a pivot between threat profiles and emulation. Atomic Red Team supports emulation on a wide range of platforms, not only on known operating systems, but also in cloud environments. More on the Atomic Red Team has been covered in these rooms, Atomic Red Team and Caldera. So the way that this works is we choose an attack technique. We choose a test for that technique, we execute the test procedure, analyze our detections of the procedure, and then make improvements to our defenses. Okay? And then now we have the, I guess, Tiber EU framework, which I'm not familiar with. I've never heard of that before, but the threat intelligence-based ethical red teaming Tiber-EU is the European framework developed to deliver controlled, bespoke, intelligence-led emulation testing on entities and organizations' critical live production systems. It is meant to provide a guideline for stakeholders to test and improve cyber resilience through controlled adversary actions. The Tiber-EU framework follows a three-phase process for end-to-end adversary testing. The first phase, preparation phase. During this phase, the security teams involved in the test are established, and the entity's management determines and approves the scope. This represents the formal launch of adversarial testing by ensuring all the planning and procurement processes are fulfilled. The second phase, the testing phase. The threat intelligence team will prepare a detailed report to showcase the threat areas for the organization and set up the necessary attack scenarios based on interested adversarial behavior. Meanwhile, the red team will use this report to craft the emulation tests against the systems, people, and processes that underpin critical functions. The blue team will look for the attacks and assess how their defense systems perform against them. This ultimately forms the aspect of collaboration between the various security teams. The third phase, the closure phase. Once tests are run and defenses measured, the emulation team must consider reporting and remediation measures. Each group will draft their analysis reports, including details of the tests conducted, findings, and recommendations for technical controls, policies, procedures, and awareness training. There's a little graphic of that right here. So you have the generic threat landscape, engagement and scoping, and TURT services. Thank you for the sub on YouTube, Yakuza Dragons. Let's see. This doesn't really say what this is. TURT services, procurement, TIRP. And that's all the preparation phase. And then the testing phase is comprised of threat intelligence and red teaming. And then the closure phase consists of remediation planning and result sharing. Okay. And then we have the CTID Adversary Emulation Library. The Center for Threat Informed Defense is a nonprofit research and development organization operated by MITRE Ingenuity. Its mission is to promote the practice of threat-informed defense. With this mission, they have curated an open-source adversary emulation plan library. allowing organizations to use the plans to evaluate their capabilities against real-world threats. The library provides users with two approaches to their emulation. Full emulation. This is a comprehensive approach to emulating a particular adversary, for example, APT29, typically from initial access to exfiltration. An example of this approach can be found in this APT29 adversary emulation repository. Emulation. This approach is more focused, emulating behaviors across multiple adversaries, such as file access or process injection techniques. You can view existing emulation plans from CTID micro-emulation plans on the linked repository. The adversary emulation process tasks will look at developing an emulation plan for an adversary in ways that will utilize some of the methodologies discussed here. Under Tiber EU, under which phase would engagement and scoping fall? That's the preparation phase. So, preparation. What? That's not the answer. But it literally says right here, engagement and scoping falls under the preparation phase. Did I spell it wrong? In which phase would engagement and scoping fall? What the crap? Why is it not taking this? Oh, there we go. I must have misspelled it. That's what I thought. Okay, what is the library that provides technical emulation tests based on TTPs? Oh. Atomic Red Team. There we go. Okay, Threat Emulation Process 1. Okay, so we have a scenario. Let's see. VASEPY Corp is a multi-billion-dollar U.S. retail establishment who are aware of the numerous cyber threats plaguing the retail industry. As a result of the news of a recent breach of one of their competitors, executives have become more concerned about the company's security posture. They have hired you as a threat emulation engineer to plan and execute an adversary emulation exercise based on known threat groups that would target their business. Developing an internal emulation engagement process for an organization must be iterative, aligned with recorded cybersecurity goals, intelligence-driven, and methodical. Security teams can revisit the iterative process, make adjustments where fit, and improve the exercise while emulating a given adversary. As an overview, the process steps are as follows. Define objectives, research adversary TTPs, planning the threat emulation engagement, conducting the emulation, and concluding and reporting. Okay, so step 1, defining emulation objectives. This step is crucial to ensure the exercise remains focused and on track. The objective should be clearly defined, specific, and measurable. For example, the aim might be to identify how an attacker could gain access to sensitive data on a particular server, or, in the case of VASEPY, I guess is how you would say that, have to set our objective to identify areas of protection against credit card fraud and ransomware attacks. The scope of the exercise should also be clearly defined, including what the emulation will target as specific systems and data. 2. Research adversary TTPs. This step aims to accurately model the behavior of the target adversary so that the emulation team can conduct the exercise realistically and practically. It involves gathering as much information about the threat and identifying behaviors that can be tested based on the set environment. We can break down this process into the following steps. Okay, 2.1, information gathering. This step starts by gathering information about threats you would be concerned about. This is to avoid instances of selecting arbitrary and non-concerning adversaries such as APT-41 that deals with cyber espionage as opposed to financial fraud. This information can be gathered from various sources, including threat intelligence reports, previous attacks, and publicly available information. More important to note is that as a threat emulation engineer, you would need to start with internal sources such as network owners, CTI analysts, the cyber defense team, and system administrators. These groups will provide information about threats they have seen or heard about and characterize threats based on threat intelligence reports and insights from prior incidents. Using this for our case, we identify that in VaSpy Corp, security teams are more concerned about financially motivated threat actors that target retail businesses and utilize ransomware. We can establish a short list of candidate adversaries that can be emulated for this case using the attack framework. A quick search provides information about APT groups such as Fin6, Fin7, and Fin8, which all target retail organizations and compromise point-of-sale systems. 2.2, select the emulated adversary. With our short list of adversaries, we must narrow it down to one we can emulate. To do so, we can follow a set of critical factors that will influence our selection. Relevance. Here we need to align the adversary to be selected to the engagement objectives and the company's goals. This may even include looking at the geographical relevance of particular APTs. Available CTI, or cyber threat intelligence. Threat intelligence is vital for providing trustworthy information about a threat. For a robust emulation plan, you would need enough reliable resources around the TTPs. TTP complexity. Executing a fruitful emulation plan for complex adversaries who use sophisticated tools and procedures may take a long time. Here, we must establish whether existing tools can handle the emulation or whether custom ones are required. Available resources. These are primarily in-house resources that must be provisioned for a smooth operation. Budget, time, and personnel must be allocated appropriately during the emulation process. As the emulation engineer, you can review these factors, assessing the short list of TTPs against them and narrowing down to the appropriate selection. Based on our information, we can select Fin7 as our suitable adversary to emulate, as they target US-based retail entities such as VaSpy Corp. Darn, as a learning newbie SOC analyst, I missed the start of stream. Oh, no worries. You can watch the video later if you want, Dwayne. Let's see, where was I? Okay, so 2.3, select the emulated TTPs. This step aims to accurately model the behavior of the target adversary so that the exercise can be conducted realistically and practically. The TTPs selected to emulate will drive the rules of engagement, implementations, and operations flow of the emulation. In the case of the Fin7 APT, their TTPs include spear phishing, social engineering, and watering hole attacks. To select which one to emulate, we must understand the TTPs to prioritize our selection. We can visualize these TTPs using the attack navigator and look at the specific behaviors that the threat group is known to use. After this, pivoting to CTI resources, such as those listed within the attack description, would provide information about how the original TTP was executed. This will be followed by creating a scenario outline for the selected TTP with appropriate context and sources to fulfill its emulation. Okay, so we'll enlarge the image. Okay, so we're going to be choosing the highlighted techniques. So we have domains, malware, replication through removable media, valid accounts, spear phishing attachment, and spear phishing link, command and scripting interpreter. Oh, I can't talk. Command and scripting interpreter. JavaScript, PowerShell, Visual Basic, Windows Command Shell, Dynamic Data Exchange, Scheduled Task, Malicious File, Malicious Link, Registry Run Keys, Startup Folder, Windows Service, Application Shimming, Registry Run Keys, Startup Folder, Windows Service, Application Shimming, Masquerade Task or Service, Match Legitimate Name or Location. Okay. And we'll probably look at these a little bit closer. Is this for SOC Analyst L1 or L2? This is the SOC Analyst Level 2 path on TryAcme, Dwayne. Let's see. Construct TTP outline 2.4. The outline aims to drive follow-up threat emulation activities, such as explaining the planned emulation activities, stating the scope and rules of engagement, and how the TTPs will be implemented during the exercise. For emulating Fin7, the TTP outline would look similar to the image below. Okay. Ooh, this is really interesting. Okay, so we have the TTPs over here, the description, and the sources here. Okay, so looking at the phishing TTP, which this would be, I believe this would be the technique, or the tactic, and then this would be the technique. Is that right? Looking back at this. Actually, no. Phishing is a technique. It's not a tactic. Do we have that listed here? Oh, okay, yeah, phishing right here. Okay, so we're looking at the sub techniques of phishing for this ATP or APT. Okay, so yeah, so this is the technique. The tactic is initial access. The technique is phishing, and the sub techniques that we're looking at are spear phishing attachment and spear phishing link. Okay. Let's see. So let's pull this back up. Okay, so this is the technique, and this is the sub technique of phishing. Okay. And this is the tactic. Okay, I see how this is laid out now. So these are the tactics right here, in bold, and then these are the techniques and sub techniques over here, and then of course you have sources over here. Okay, so looking at phishing, spear phishing attachment, sub technique. Fin7 sent spear phishing emails with either malicious Microsoft documents or RTF files attached. Fin7 has harvested valid administrative credentials for lateral movement. Okay. Oh wait, would this? I wonder if these would be the actual procedures. I think so. Yeah, okay. So the way that I understand this is these in bold are the tactics. These are the techniques in this column, and then the descriptions are actually the procedures for actually how the APT actually carries out their TTPs. Okay. Fin7 has harvested valid administrative credentials for lateral movement. Okay, and we have some sources over here. There's one from FireEye and a couple from CrowdStrike. Okay, and then the command and control tactic. The techniques for that are ingress tool transfer, and the procedure for this looks to be that Fin7 has downloaded additional malware to execute on the victim's machine, including by using a PowerShell script to launch shellcode that retrieves an additional payload. And then for the fallback channels technique, Fin7's Harpy backdoor malware can use DNS as a backup channel for command and control, or C2, if HTTP fails. Okay, and you have a FireEye and CrowdStrike source for both of those techniques. And then looking at the discovery tactic, virtualization, sandbox evasion, user activity-based checks. So this is the technique, and this is the sub-technique, and then we have the procedure here. Fin7 used images embedded into document lures that only activate the payload when a user double-clicks to avoid sandboxes. Okay, and then there's a source for that from FireEye. And then for the credential access tactic, we have steal or forge Kerberos tickets, which is the technique. And then the sub-technique of that is Kerberosting. Interesting. So the Fin7 APT deals in using Kerberosting attacks, abusing Kerberos. So then the procedure would be Fin7 has used Kerberosting for credential access and to enable lateral movement. And you have a CrowdStrike source for that. And then the lateral movement tactic. The technique for this is, well, there are several techniques for this. Exploitation of remote services. Fin7 has exploited zero logon CVE 2020-1472 against vulnerable domain controllers. So they will actually use the zero logon vulnerability and accompanying exploit against vulnerable domain controllers. And then other techniques are remote services. The sub-technique of that is remote desktop protocol. Fin7 has used RDP to move laterally in victim environments. Okay, that's interesting. They actually use the remote desktop protocol to for their lateral movement. And then so you have CrowdStrike sources for that. And then moving on to the next technique, this is also falls under the technique of remote services. They use SSH. They use SSH to move laterally through victim environments, so more lateral movement, this time using the SSH service. And then the replication through removable media technique. They have mailed USB drives to potential victims containing malware that downloads and installs various backdoors, including in some cases for ransomware operations. And you have a source from the record for that. Okay. Damn. Jeez. Those are pretty scary techniques. I'm guessing all of this works pretty well though, and that's why they decided to use that for their TTPs. Okay, and looking at the collection tactic, the technique, so there are several techniques under that tactic that this APT uses. Screen capture is one of the three. Fin7 captured screenshots and desktop video recordings. And then data from local system. Fin7 has collected files and other sensitive information from a compromised network. So that sounds like that would probably be like exfiltration. Data from... Oh wait, I just read that. Let's see. Video capture. Fin7 created a custom video recording capability that could be used to monitor operations in the victim's environment. Oh, wow. And then for the persistence tactic, the technique for that is scheduled task job. The sub-technique for that is scheduled task. The procedure is Fin7 malware has created scheduled tasks to establish persistence, and you have a bunch of sources for each of those. Okay, so we've gone through that now to get a better understanding of their TTPs. For continuous emulation exercises, it is worth noting that adversary TTPs can change over time, so staying up to date with the latest threat intelligence is essential. For example, Fin7 has been known to alter their TTPs over time, so it is crucial to continually gather new information and update the emulation. There's a set of 3 software used by Fin6 and Fin7. Can you identify them? Answers are in alphabetical order, separated by a comma. Okay, I think we need to go to the MITRE attack framework. There's a set of 3 software used by Fin6 and Fin7. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So let's see. So let's go to cyber threat intelligence and groups, and we'll search for Fin7. So we want Fin6 and Fin7. We probably could also just Google this, I'm guessing. Let's see. Okay, so there's talk about Metasploit, Metasploit's PS exec. Plink. Okay, let's take a look at Fin7 and see if we can see the similarities in software. Cobalt Strike, Power Exploit, and a Terra. RDP, SSH, Tight VNC. Let's see. Mimikatz, Cobalt Strike, and AD Find. Let's try. No, it's not going to be RDP or SSH. I think this is probably Cobalt Strike, though. Let's see. Does Fin 7 use Mimikatz? Or PS Exec? Says they use a Terra, so that looks like that's a common thread between Fin 6 and Fin 7. What is the last one, though, I wonder? mshta.exe. So we've got I don't even know if it's a Terra. Might just have to Google this. This is really hard to just look at. Oh wait, this might be easier. Okay. You know what? Let me do this. Let me put these side by side. And of course my VM froze. Yeah, let's get down to the software for both of these. Oh, okay. This makes it much easier. Okay, geez, I should have done this to begin with. I forgot that there's a software category. Okay, so we got AD Find. They both use that. They both use Cobalt Strike. What else? Fin 7 uses Crackmap Exec. Do they both use Mimikatz? Aha! Okay, so let's try. Sorry, my VM keeps freezing. Okay. Maximize this. Okay, so let's try 80, find, Cobalt Strike, and Mimikatz. Aha! Awesome. Okay. Yeah, that was way easier doing it that way, putting them side by side. I should have done that to begin with. Okay, which factor will be considered when analyzing whether to use existing or custom tools during the emulation? Which factor will be considered when analyzing whether to use existing or custom tools during the emulation? Probably complexity, I'm guessing. Damn it. TTP complexity. Yep, okay. Hey, welcome in, some flavor. I'm just going through the intro to threat emulation room on TryHackMe. It's part of the SOC 2 learning path. Let's see. Okay, so we're done with that. Moving on to Threat Emulation Process 2. Click View Site. Planning the threat emulation engagement. Since threat emulation involves conducting and mimicking actual cyber attacks, significant problems may ensue if not properly planned and coordinated. The issues may include disclosure of private data, data loss, and unplanned system downtime. Planning the emulation activities through defining the rules of engagement for the exercise, including communication and approvals, is vital to avert these risks. Planning also involves determining the resources needed for the activity, such as personnel, time, and equipment. Okay, 3.1, Threat Emulation Plans. Threat emulation plans are a collection of resources used to organize and set a step-by-step execution of instructions for adversary behaviors based on a particular set of TTPs. As discussed in the previous tasks, we can find available emulation plans from CTID that capture adversary behaviors based on specific scenarios and step-by-step procedures to execute the emulation using tools. A well-defined plan will contain the elements of the threat emulation process as well as the following components. Engagement objectives. We have seen that the objectives are defined at the beginning of the process to understand the need for threat emulation. Scope. The departments, users, and devices upon which emulation activities are permitted should be defined explicitly. Schedule. The dates and times when the activity should occur and when deliverables are due should be defined. This helps avoid conflicts between emulation activities and legitimate business operations. Rules of engagement. The acceptable adversary behavior to be emulated must be planned and discussed. This also includes mitigation actions for any high-risk TTPs used during the exercise. Permission to execute. Explicit written consent to conduct the emulation activities must be provided by sufficient authority from the organization. This helps avoid acting out independently and risking legal or criminal problems. Communication plan. The emulation team and organization stakeholders must have a plan to communicate information concerning the emulation activities. You need to Define the timings, communication channels, and any collaboration efforts to be included. Z-save. Okay, part 4, or step 4, conducting the emulation. This step involves carrying out the attack using the TTPs identified in the research phase. This step requires skilled professionals who can accurately replicate the tactics and techniques of the target adversary. The exercise should be conducted controlled and safely, and any issues should be addressed immediately. We will not go through a technical implementation of TTPs in this room. However, we shall provide a decent breakdown of the process. During the execution of the emulation, some resources would be needed to implement the TTPs. This will be your emulation lab, comprising an attack platform and analysis platform used to gather forensic details and analyze artifacts, and your test systems where the TTPs would be deployed. 4.1 Planning the deployment. Let's see. My friend Jacob is watching. I'm live streaming on Discord. He loves this so much. Wait, you're live streaming my stream on Discord? Am I understanding that correctly? Or you're live streaming on Discord? I'm probably not understanding that correctly. Okay. 4.1 Planning the deployment. As the emulation engineer for VSpy, we can revisit the research phase tackled in the previous task, where we identify the TTPs to emulate for Fin7. Let's say we wish to emulate the initial access TTPs. We can use attack to understand the TTPs and map them out using the navigator. This would be combined with CTI resources, or cyber threat intelligence resources, such as Mandiant's Fin7 Evolution Report and eCentire Fin7 Report, outlining how Fin7 used Windows document lures to execute their campaign. The lab environment needed for the exercise should be effectively set up, and security teams should know their responsibilities. Okay. Wait, what? Yes, you're live streaming my stream on Discord, or I mean, I guess technically my friend Jacob is watching. I'm live streaming on Discord. He loves this so much. Oh, so is it kind of like a watch party? Is that what's going on? So like you have some friends that are interested in cybersecurity on Discord, and you kind of got together and set up a kind of, you know, like a watch party showing my stream on Discord in a voice channel. Am I understanding that correctly? Okay. 4.2 Implementation of TTP. This is where the deployment of actual TTPs happens. In our case scenario, an initial access payload for Fin7 would be created and obfuscated using a RTF document delivered through a spear phishing email. The lures used by attackers such as Fin7 tend to be convincing, using docx and RTF files with malicious Windows shortcut file .lnk embedded. A code snippet demonstrating the execution based on the CTID Fin7 emulation plan would look as follows. Okay. Copy 2-list.rtf to domain_admin, desktop on hotel manager. sudo smb client tag capital U, domain underscore full, / domain underscore admin. So that's just an identity, okay. And then / hotel manager underscore IP, and /C $, so that's the share, and the resource that the share is being shared from. -c is the command we want. So we want put fin7 /resources /step1 /sqlrat /2-list.rtf, and then users / domain underscore admin .domain / desktop / 2-list.rtf, and the / is for character escaping. So we want actually one /, but we have to use character escaping because of calling an actual file path. Let's see. And it's a Windows file path, so we have to character escape. Provide domain admin password when prompted. Domain admin password. Log in to victim workstation as domain admin. X free RDP plus clipboard. /u : domain domain underscore full. /p : domain admin password. /v : hotel manager IP. Okay. So we're just connecting to the victim workstation via RDP with X free RDP on Linux. Okay. So that makes sense. That is very, very interesting. Okay. Detections and mitigations. Since emulation is a cross-team and collaborative endeavor, the defense team must find ways to detect and mitigate against emulated TTPs. Depending on the organizational setup, the SOC would use standard cybersecurity tools to collect, correlate, and analyze TTP behavior and logs for detection. MITRE provides a list of mitigation efforts for the adversarial TTPs, and this can be provided as recommendations and implemented as part of the emulation. In our case, we can look at the malicious file T1204.002 mitigations and detection strategies. Okay, so I'll look at that. Okay, so for mitigations, we have behavior prevention on endpoint. A description of that is on Windows 10, various attack surface reduction, ASR rules, can be enabled to prevent the execution of potentially malicious executable files, such as those that have been downloaded and executed by Office applications, scripting interpreters, email clients, or that do not meet specific prevalence, age, or trusted list criteria. Note, cloud-delivered protection must be enabled for certain rules, okay? And then for execution prevention mitigation, we have application control, may be able to prevent the running of executables masquerading as other files. And then the user training mitigation, use user training as a way to bring awareness to common phishing and spear phishing techniques and how to raise suspicion for potentially malicious events. Now, looking at detection, we have a data source of file, data component, file creation. In order to detect this, we need to monitor for newly constructed files that are downloaded and executed on the user's computer. Endpoint sensing or network sensing can potentially detect malicious events once the file is open, such as a Microsoft Word document or PDF reaching out to the internet or spawning PowerShell.exe. Okay, and then the next data source, we have process, and then the data component is process creation. And in order to detect this, we need to monitor for newly constructed processes and or command lines for applications that may be used by an adversary to gain initial access that require user interaction. This includes compression applications such as those for zip files that can be used to deobfuscate, decode files or information in payloads. Okay. All right. To end the task, answer the questions provided based on what you have learned. Click the View Site button at the top of the task to launch the static site and complete the activity. Okay. Instructions, there are 2 rounds, each round comprising of 3 questions related to a specific attack strategy that is being implemented. You have an option to utilize a special ability play that will have more impact and help complete the exercise quicker. Let's proceed. Okay, round 1. Okay. Assuming you're emulating... Wow, why do they make the special ability float all over the page? That's a little annoying, to be honest. Okay. The emulation plan component determining which activities are to be conducted is known as the... Okay, so let's do this first. So this is to figure out what the flags are. Okay. Assuming you're emulating Carbon Spider, what will you use to achieve execution techniques? Cron, Windows Command Shell, AppleScript, or Windows Management Instrumentation. Okay, so we need to go back to the MITRE attack framework. Go to attack.mitre.org. And we need to look up Carbon Spider. So to do that, we'll go to Cyber Threat Intelligence, or CTI, and we'll go to Groups. And then Carbon Spider. So that should be pretty easy to find. This will probably be a lot easier to find it, though. Just take me to Carbon Spider. What? Oh, is this actually Fin 7? There isn't a... What is this column? Oh, associated groups. Okay, now I get it. So this is actually part of Fin 7. This is what I'm understanding, at least. Because I don't see that actually listed as a group here. Okay. Assuming you're emulating Carbon Spider, what will you use to achieve execution techniques? Okay, so... Where's execution? Jeez, that's all over the place. What is the actual execution tactic? Execution... TA0002... What? Oh wait, these are techniques. That's why. Where's the tactics? There's a nice MITRE extension I heard of recently. Ooh, nice. Welcome in, Cypher Enigma. Center for Threat and Foreign Defense's attack powered suit. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. Assuming you're emulating Carbon Spider, what will you use to achieve execution techniques? Cron, Windows Command Shell, AppleScript, Windows Management Instrumentation. I think we should be able to see. Once my VM stops freezing, can go back to the navigator and we should be able to find this pretty easily, I think. Okay, there we go. Okay, so execution techniques. Okay, so we have AppleScript. So that should be the answer. Wait, is that not right? How is that not right? Oh wait, that's not one of the highlighted techniques. That's why. Is there PowerShell? Windows Command Shell? What is happening? Is TryHack Me down? That was weird. Okay, Windows Command Shell is actually the answer. There we go. What would be used to achieve persistence? So let's look at persistence. Registry run keys, startup folder. That would be login items. It's the same thing as the startup folder. And my VM froze again, of course. Okay, login items. What? How is that not right? That's the highlighted technique. Scheduled task, Windows service, launch daemon, login items. How is that not login items? Gosh dang it, my VM keeps freezing. Jeez, it's really getting bad now. Yeah, this is still Carbon Spider. What would be used to achieve persistence? It should be login items. I don't understand. So this is the persistence tactic. Registry run keys. I think I might have to use the special ability on this one. VM froze again, of course. I have no idea what the deal with that is. I think it's Revel, isn't it? No, it's not. Oh, that's great. None of these answers on here match. One 1547. Okay, here we go. Windows service. What? What on earth is going on? Why are neither of those the right answer? I mean, I get why this isn't the right answer, because that's not actually one of their techniques. But I don't understand why this isn't, because it literally says once my VM is done freezing. Okay, so going back here, it literally says create or modify system process Windows service. Fin7 created new Windows services and added them to the startup directories for persistence. So what the hell? Why is that not the answer? Let's see if there's anything else for persistence. Application shim databases. What else? Adobe Flash Sync. Oh, scheduled task. Okay, let's try scheduled task. I'm not gonna, if this isn't scheduled task, then I don't understand why that is. Finally, okay. There's a POS malware that Carbon Spider has been known to use to harvest credit card data. What is it? VB Flash, Windows Service, Pillow Mint, Killac. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Jeez. What is the deal? My Kali VM has frozen like this before on Proxmox, but it's never been this bad. It seems like it's getting progressively worse. Oh, how would I even go about looking this up? Oh, maybe I can find this in software. Pillowmint. Archive collected data, command and scripting interpreter, PowerShell data from local system, deobfuscate, decode files or information, event triggered execution. What is their POS malware called? Oh crap, and their ransomware is DarkSide. What is their POS malware though that's used for stealing credit card data called? Is it Pillowmint? Yes. Okay, sweet. Please use special ability to completely destroy. And yes, that is DarkSide. Okay, sweet. So we have one of the flags. What is flag 2 obtained after completing the exercise? Okay. Round 2. Assuming you're emulating Reaper, what will you use to achieve initial access techniques? Okay. So we needed the navigator and the framework itself for that. Groups. Reaper. Okay, so this is associated with APT 37. Assuming you're emulating Reaper, what will you use to achieve initial access techniques? Okay. So... Whoops. Oh, how did I do this last time? I thought I did it like that. Miter, attack, navigator. Open application. Create new layer. Enterprise. APT37. View? Oh crap. No. Select? I think that worked. How can I make this go away? Drive-by compromise. Awesome. Okay, there we go. And my VM froze again, of course. Okay, Reaper's command and control plan utilizes dog call malware. Which platform would be used to deploy it? AOL Messenger, pCloud, Dropbox, or OneDrive? Okay. This is command and control, right? Yeah. Command and control, ingress tool transfer. I think I can look at this here. Ingress tool transfer, APT37 has downloaded second stage malware from compromised websites. But what is the method for delivering that malware? Stupid VM! Quit freezing. Jeez. How can we figure this out? Oh, there we go. Close. Okay. Ingress tool transfer. Is that all the info I get? I could probably search for that malware. Dog call. Let's see. Where's the second match? Seriously? This does not, it does not tell me. How does that malware get delivered? Might need to Google this. Uses HTTPS to conceal C2 communications. How do they deploy their malware? Maybe this will tell me. Oh, another name for dog call is rock rat. Okay. How do they deploy it though? Python and Ruby to load blue light and rock rat, but I don't think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for actual deployment. How do they actually deploy it? Stop freezing! How do you deploy your shit? This is the same. How do they deploy the malware in the first place? This is how they load it. They unload it with Python and Ruby. But how do they actually deploy it onto the victim machine? I'm just gonna guess and say it's OneDrive. That's probably what it is. No? Okay. How is dog call malware deployed? Typically dropped using a Hangul word processor exploit, HWP. If that's true, then why the hell? Oh, okay, here we go. Capable of leveraging cloud storage APIs such as Cloudbox, Dropbox, and Yandex for C2. Okay, so it's gonna be Dropbox. There we go, finally. Alright. If you were Reaper, which defense evasion technique would you use to hide information? Steganography, binary padding, software packing, or compile after delivery? Okay, defense evasion. technique. Stop it. Is it down here? Process injection, obfuscated files, or information. Oh, they use steganography to send images to users that are embedded with shellcode. Steganography. Awesome. Special ability after my freaking VM stops being... Come here, special ability. Initial 0-day abuse by Reaper was on the software. This would probably be part of initial access, I would think. Has used exploits for Flash Player, Word, Internet Explorer, and Microsoft Edge. Was one of the options Adobe Flash? Yeah, awesome. Yay! Okay, the emulation plan component determining which activities are to be conducted is known as what? Emulation plan component. Now what's happening? Jeez. The emulation plan component determining which activities are to be conducted is known as the... Is that the scope? Yep. Awesome. Okay. Okay, threat emulation process 3. View site. Observe results. While going through the emulation engagement, the observing team, typically blue team, must identify artifacts that point to the emulation activity. This will be through the analysis of logs, evaluation of event logs, and tracking of networking traffic. Additionally, like in the case of Fin7, detection rules would be vital to detect the threat. One collection of rules useful for this would be the Yara rules. Have a look at the rules to detect the pillowmint.exe malware. Let's take a look at that. Probably shouldn't have closed that. Yeah, let me open both of those back up. I'll probably need those again. Okay. Used to detect output associated with filament.exe. Searching for accounting IQ.exe. Able to find process with name accounting IQ.exe. Getting handle to accounting IQ.exe via open process. Unable to get handle to accounting IQ.exe. Searching address, credit card records via read process memory. Call to read process memory failed with error code. Found credit card record. XOR, encrypting credit card data. Writing credit card record to file. Closing handle to accounting IQ.exe. Call to close handle failed. Finished. Fatal error and call to process 32 first W. Found process with name accounting IQ.exe. PID. Condition all of them. Rule shim meta. Description used to detect strings associated with shimming. Okay. I'm not going to read all of these out because they're just random things. I mean, they're not really random, but they're just like... There's a lot of characters in here. Condition all of them. Real functions. Used to detect functions associated with filament.exe. Okay, so there are several different functions that are associated with filament.exe, and we're detecting those via strings. Okay. Okay. And then the last thing is used to detect strings associated with financial features. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Alright. The output of these results would help to understand if the TTP was successful at its mission, blocked or detected by the security measures available. Document and report findings. Once results have been obtained, the teams must document and report the findings. Documentation provides empirical evidence to demonstrate the cybersecurity effectiveness of the process. Reporting should cover the exercise procedures as outlined in the emulation plan and what was executed, the impact faced, and recommendations that would be offered to avert the threat. Okay. Click the View Site button at the top of the test to launch the static site. What is flag 3 obtained after completing the exercise? Okay. Instructions. There are 2 rounds, each round comprising of 3 questions related to a specific defensive strategy that is being implemented. You have an option to utilize a special ability play that will have more impact and help complete the exercise quicker. Let's proceed. Round 1. While defending against APTs, what mitigation measure would you use to prevent command and scripting techniques? Password policies, execution prevention, privileged account management, anti-malware execution prevention. How would you mitigate against data loss through ransomware encryption? Limit hardware installation, data loss prevention, remote data storage, data backup. How would you mitigate against data loss through ransomware encryption? That would be data backup. Okay. What is the most efficient method used for data exfiltration? Uploading files to cloud storage services, using USB drives or other removable media, using covert channels such as DNS or ICMP, using email or file transfer protocols, hiding data in images or other file types. The most efficient method used for data exfiltration. It's not going to be using USB drives or other removable media. Probably not using covert channels such as DNS or ICMP. Using email or file transfer protocols. Maybe. Hiding data in images or other file types. No, that's not going to be efficient. Okay, so it's either going to be uploading files to cloud storage services or using email or file transfer protocols. I'm going to go with uploading files to cloud storage services. Okay, and that's right. Okay, and then we'll use the special ability. The first ransomware that leveraged worm-like capabilities is known as WannaCry Cloud Storage, Data Backup, DNS, or ICMP. That would be WannaCry. Okay, and here is our flag. And that's the first flag. There's another flag. Okay, let's proceed. Round 2. When emulating a SQL injection attack, what indicators in web server logs can suggest it is successful? Increase in database errors, abnormal database query patterns, presence of SQL syntax in logs, unexpected data retrieved from the database. Probably not going to be an increase in database errors, because if it's successful, then there's not going to be an error. Abnormal database query patterns, presence of SQL syntax and logs. I think that would already probably be in the logs. Unexpected data retrieved from the database. I think I'm gonna go with that. No? Okay. Abnormal database query patterns. Hello? Oh, maybe I'm froze again. I wish I could figure out what the hell's causing that. Nope. Okay. Maybe it is presence of SQL syntax in logs. Okay, it is that. What kind of web server logs would effectively indicate brute force attacks during the emulation and detection? Multiple login attempts with different usernames, repeated login attempts from the same IP address, increase in failed login attempts, sequential login attempts. Once this unfreezes, I'm going to say increase in failed login attempts. No? Sequential login attempts? Probably not. Multiple login attempts with different usernames. Repeated login attempts from the same IP address is probably what it's gonna be. What is the deal here? Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. Oh my god, come on. I do not know why this is happening, because I'm not like over utilizing resources or anything. File inclusion attacks would be detected using which artifacts in web server logs? File inclusion attacks. Presence of path traversal syntax in logs. Increase in file retrieval errors. Unusual file retrieval requests. Unusual traffic patterns from specific IP addresses. Come on. I'm gonna go with this. Okay, awesome. Come here, special ability. Which group was responsible for breaches due to the exploitation of the Outlook web app? Oh, I need to close these. I wonder if that could be part of why my VM keeps freezing. Let me just Google this. Oh my gosh. This is terrible. It hasn't ever been this bad. Storm-0558 is not one of the options. Nor is Midnight Blizzard. Let me try this. Of course not. What's another name for Storm-0558? Outlook web. Fin4 is not one of the options. It could be a group attributed to them, though. Let's take a look. Does Fin4 have another name? Man, this is difficult. I might just have to go through each of these and see if it has Outlook web app exploitation. And my VM froze again, of course. Almost done. Just let me get through this. Side copy, we'll start with that. Side copy. Okay, I don't think it's side copy. Hafnium. I don't think it's hafnium. Okay. Inception and Black Oasis. Inception. No? Let's see. Black Oasis. It's gotta be them. And it's not. Oh shit. Outlook web app. I'm searching for the wrong damn thing. Okay, we'll go back then. Okay, Inception. Hafnium. It's probably hafnium. Okay, I have no fucking clue. I'm just gonna guess. Oh, it is hafnium. Okay. Inclusion. Fantastic work going through the introduction of Threat Emulation room. Throughout the room, we have seen how adversary behaviors can be emulated by following a detailed process and formulating a plan. As the room covered these concepts in theory, you should expect to meet them more particularly, or more practically and technically in future rooms within the module. Threat emulation is commonly viewed as a red team concept, yet it is all-rounded and involves every team in the security domain. Knowing how attackers do it simplifies understanding how to defend it, more like learning the moves in a video game. Power to the threat emulation. Complete. Congratulations, you completed the room. Share this with your friends. Okay, awesome. Alright, so we have concluded the room. I wonder if there's anyone on to raid. We could raid Het Tanis. Not sure what they're doing. Co-working, hanging out and working on training documents. I don't know. Actually, I think I'm just gonna end the stream here, guys. Hopefully you learned something. I definitely learned something. This was a bit of a little bit more trickier of a room than I thought it would be. It was actually somewhat challenging. But yeah, hopefully you learned something. I did. I do every time. Hopefully I will catch you guys next time. Hopefully I'll plan on streaming on Saturday, from 7 to 9 p.m. Central. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys again next time. Thanks everybody who joined. Hope you have a good one. Day, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you. Take care, guys. Bye.